Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host with
Mervyn Price, your co-host.
Great. Thanks for chiming in, Mervyn. All right. This segment, we've got Ronald Russo Jr., CEO and Social Equity Officer, GLX Inc., glx.com. All right, Ron, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming back.
Hey, guys. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Tell us about yourself and your company and how you're going to change the world.
So GLX is basically the world's first capital market directory and social finance network. Sometimes I say that, and maybe it's a little bit hard to grasp the whole picture. So quickly, I'll fill you in a little bit more.
But before we get about GLX, because I know we're going to get into it, you have been around the block once or twice. So let's hear about the man behind the machine.
Yeah. So I grew up in New Jersey, graduated Seton Hall Prep, went to St. John's University, graduated St. John's University, went to Wall Street in '93. Didn't really like the hard sales side of the industry, so I took additional licenses. I ended up with basically doing operations and management for small cap broker dealers. I ended up with my Series 7 63, my 24, and my 27, and we've all seen the movies. The 93 to 97 was a pretty wild ride on Wall Street for the small cap IPO market.
Right.
And I did operations and management in '97. Started to see that there was more sophisticated money in the market, and started to study who the PIPE funds were and the private equity funds that were doing direct investments into public companies. And I started doing PIPEs in 1997, and had a really good run raising money, really doing the deals entirely by myself, usually running a branch office for myself of a broker dealer, finding nano cap and small cap clients, and then bringing them directly to the private equity investors and helping structure the deals and helping them get funded. I've always been a tech and media guy, so obviously when the internet really heated up in 1998, I set up a company called Silicon Alley Capital Management, and I parked myself on Broadway and 28th Street, right in the heart of Silicon Alley in New York City, and that was another really wild ride. I did five really exciting internet deals and had a great run at that, and a lot of fun. And ultimately, obviously, that market cooled down, and I kind of got agnostic and went back to just the nano cap public side of it, and did that until 2008. And in 2008, started to study social media and the public markets. Really wanted to get away from the corporate finance and investment banking side, but do something to kind of change the way Wall Street was working. And obviously at that time in 08 and 09, it was really studying Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook to understand how social media and the social graph was really revolutionizing a lot of different industries. So started transitioned to started World Market Media and transitioned to the financial media side of the industry, and really just started to kick around the ideas of building some type of finance network. Built out a couple of other media properties that were more along the lines of small cap kind of news websites like World Market Media, and then really came along with the idea of the Global Listing Exchange. And the idea was originally that I, with what I just told you, was in the U.S. markets making a great living, and most of us have been in the U.S. markets. And you know the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange. I did one deal on the Toronto Stock Exchange, but I started studying the global economy and was really blown away that India at that time had 24 equity markets and broken up into Northeast, South, and West. So the idea was to build a directory. It was initially a social network for stock exchanges, and I built a directory of every exchange in the world and had this website that I could add pages to, and thought that was really cool. And after that, basically expanded on the idea of why stop with a directory that's useful of all the exchanges in the world, but why not top down all the investment banks, all the market intermediaries, the accountants, the transfer agents, all the market professionals, individual investors, and all the publicly traded companies and issues in the world, and build a complete directory. So we came up with the idea and got very lucky being able to acquire GLX.com, the asset being the acronym of GLX.com, the Global Listing Exchange, and which is the best brand I could think of for what we're building, and just started expanding on my background in that opportunity, and ultimately ended up with the right development team, and we've been building out the platform and testing the platform and continuing to build the directories, and we're almost ready for launch.
Now, pre-launch, just so the audience knows, because not everybody's going to be able to connect all the dots on this one. How will GLX change the financial communications? Let's walk some of the people through the connecting of the dots with that.
So I love really have a lot of kind of titans of industry that I admire, but I think a lot of us really admire Steve Jobs, and he stole a great, you see it everywhere, but he stole a great line from Pablo Picasso: good artists copy, great artists steal. And I hate to say it, but it's really stealing from Facebook. And what Facebook does, if you look at Facebook, their mission is to make the world more open and connected. And what Facebook has revolutionized in social communications is really to, beyond change, but revolutionize the way people connect, communicate, and share. What I just told you is Facebook on Facebook's page. That's what they'll tell you about their company, and that's been their copy and their language since the beginning. So it's taking that idea and just applying it to what we do in the public markets. And it doesn't really matter if you're a day trader in Taiwan, an accountant in Moscow that deals with publicly traded companies or emerging growth companies, if you're the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, if you're a financial media radio host in Texas. It really, whatever you do throughout the day and who you interact with and the companies you interact with, it's really an interactive, interlinked, live directory. So that's the difference between the Facebook and the LinkedIn business model and the Global Listing Exchange. They built a platform that had utility, that connected people, that allowed people to communicate. People had to figure it out and come in and populate the platform, and then ultimately it evolved and companies populated the platform. We've taken the approach of building a useful information resource for the global capital markets and pre-populating the network with the listing exchange and the directories. So it's just about having a robust profile, giving people the ability to do what they do at work easier on our platform than using Skype to message, Yahoo Finance to get certain information, maybe a quote package somewhere else to get certain information, Google Contacts, Salesforce, Outlook to manage your contacts, whatever other communication tools you might use. This is pulling it all into one place with all the access of interlinked data and connections in one place to again, really revolutionize the way people connect, communicate, and share with whatever they're doing at work in the financial markets.
When's the launch?
So the site is actually live now. GLX.com is live, but it's in alpha. We should shift gears into beta in the next month or so, and really we're trying to coincide the full, really public launch when we'll actually start marketing and driving traffic to the platform out to November, because we are right at the tail end of getting our audited financials complete, and we've already have a Reg A prepared to do a Tier 2 Reg A Plus. We have the ticker symbol GLX reserved with NASDAQ for another year. So we think that, we're building an investor network. Logical investors in the network obviously could be buyers of the stock. So we think we could be one of the biggest Reg A and crowdfund offerings on the street. And we want to kind of coincide the full launch with the effectiveness of the registration statement and the Reg A Plus crowdfund offering, which will hopefully be sometime in mid to late November.
Okay, that sounds amazing. You have something else that other people don't, though. Why the GLX dollar?
So So the market, it got so hot, and I love technology. I love fintech. So we were. I actually got in the game a bit late. I mean, I knew what Bitcoin was, but a year ago I went to the NASDAQ market to. I'm actually looking at the book right now. It was The Blockchain Revolution by Don Tapscott and Alex Tapscott, and they wrote that book, I guess, in the first quarter of last year, and they did a book tour, and one of the spots was in May at the NASDAQ. And it was really an exciting time just to go to the NASDAQ and see them talk about blockchain in this book. And I just, late to the game, but I jumped in, started studying blockchain. Blockchain is literally going to revolutionize the financial industry. It's what the internet was in 1993. A year ago when I was at that book signing, Citicorp came out with a white paper saying blockchain is going to displace 33% of all commercial bank employees because technologies are going to get automated over the next 10 years. So I started to see how blockchain could, us being a fintech company, could fit into the GLX network. And, the network is so, Facebook is doing things today that they never imagined they would have been doing when it was a site to connect college kids. Obviously, the business model expands. So we have such a wide business model that there had to be a way to fit and integrate blockchain into our business model, which we're still figuring out. So I've been studying it for a year and a half now, very, very intensely. And this cryptocurrency market has just heated up. And we feel that GLX is meant to be a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ. We're absolutely pursuing that, but we think that the cryptocurrency deal could really enhance the company overall and the equity. And the truth of the matter is we really want to revolutionize as well
Ron,
the access to market data.
Ron, we got to run. We got to run, but thank you for being a guest on the show.
Hey, you got it, guys. I'll follow up with you after. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ron Russo, CEO, Social Equity Officer, GLX.com. We'll be right back with John Kosar, Chief Investment Strategist, Asbury Research.